Welcome back to Inside the Wellspace. I'm your host, Cathy O'Brien, and today we are diving into the fascinating intersection of skin and psyche with one of the few physicians in the country board certified in both dermatology and psychiatry, Dr. Amy Wechsler. Dr. Wechsler brings a unique holistic lens to skincare, treating not just what's on the surface, but what's beneath it too. She's the author of a wonderful book called The Mind-Beauty Connection, a groundbreaking book exploring how stress impacts the way we age, and she's also the longtime dermatological advisor to Chanel. A Castle Connolly top doctor for over a decade and now a member of their advisory board, Dr. Wechsler most recently added an MBA from Columbia Business School to her impressive list of credentials. This episode is all about the deep connection between our mental health and our skin and how understanding that link can lead to real, lasting beauty from the inside out. I'm so happy to be here with you. Isn't this fun?
Yeah, this is fun.
We've
known each other for 20 years.
Have we? Has it been
Just
20
about
years?
20 years,
Really?
yes. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Summer of 2005.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
God, I see. That's lucky. Don't you feel lucky?
I do feel lucky.
I feel so lucky. I feel lucky that I can say that I know such wonderful people for so long, and we've had this long relationship and
I know.
gone through things together and life and children and that wonderful book. So we're going to get into your book too. Yeah, Amy and I worked together for a number of years when she was just starting out, and now she's famous.
I wouldn't go that far. I'm not famous.
She's famous.
This is fun.
So why don't we start with the fact that you are one of a few doctors that's board certified in dermatology and psychiatry. And, it's always interested me, what came first? Was it the dermatology? Was it the psychiatry? How did that all come together?
The psych came first.
Did it?
Yes.
Wait, did you think you wanted to be a shrink?
Kind of.
Yeah.
For a short time. So I was a psych major in college.
You were.
And I was also an injured athlete. So I thought I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon.
You were an injured. I know all of this. I had to have known all of it. Yes. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
That's okay. No, we can talk about anything. So I went to Cornell Med School specifically because they have their relationship with HSS, Hospital for Special Surgery and Orthopedics.
Yep.
I did some extra months of research in orthopedics, and I thought, I'm a little bored.
Yeah.
Like the knee is the same every day.
It's just a knee.
Morning. It was an old boys club at the time. I just didn't feel like it was for me.
Yeah.
And I went and actually did my internship in emergency medicine. That was a kind of a new field.
Right.
That was actually sort of boring. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but very steep learning curve. And then it really plateaued. And I was like, okay, I have to figure out what to do. And I thought my dean's letter read like someone going into psychiatry, where I went to med school, like the best psych department in the country. And I called one of my professors and I said, I think I'm interested in coming back and doing psychiatry. And they were like, oh my gosh, come back. I went and interviewed. It was like a homecoming. So I went and I did 2 years of adult psych and then 2 years of child adolescent psychiatry fellowship.
Wow.
And managed care just started at that time. So it sort of ruined inpatient psychiatry.
Yeah.
Patients couldn't be kept for that long anymore.
Oh, gosh.
So instead of keeping them for 6 weeks at least and figuring out what's going on with them, it was like 2 days.
Oh, my God.
And I didn't love it. And I didn't love sitting in an office,
Yeah.
just me with one patient.
Yeah.
It just didn't suit my personality. I'm kind of too social and physical and stuff.
Totally get that. I mean, I get that knowing you. Yes. Makes
and when
sense.
I was treating kids, I was really bringing a lot of it home with me at night because a lot of it was so depressing. And there wasn't a lot I could fix quickly. I don't need tons of immediate gratification, but I need some. And I learned that about myself. And so
how wonderful that is that you were able to have that inner personal experience and journey.
It was, I think, because I graduated from med school when I was 25. So I just was so young and didn't really know myself that well yet to figure out what suited me.
You graduated from med school at 25?
Yes.
Girl, that's amazing.
I also got married for the first time 4 days later. Again, what was I thinking?
Oh, Lord in heaven. Okay, we'll go into that another time because that's a whole other conversation.
It is.
I know.
But I thought I'd figured it all out at 25.
Yeah.
And I hadn't, and that's okay. And so
Totally.
After finishing psych, I thought, okay, I love being a doctor. I have to figure out another specialty to combine with the psych that makes sense.
Right.
And I had my own dermatology issues. I had horrible acne, I had eczema as a kid. And I remember what that felt like. And I had some psych patients who were dealing with bad acne issues, for example, but I couldn't treat them.
Right.
And then I was introduced to my future chairman of dermatology, Dr. Alan Shalita, who's very psychologically minded, happened to be looking for a psychiatrist to train in dermatology.
Stop it.
He was the world's acne expert.
No way.
Yeah, so by the time patients got to him, they were depressed and anxious, and he understood. He got it.
Yeah.
So I went and did 3 years of dermatology residency.
You were like, let's do it again.
Oh my gosh.
Let's throw another one on here.
I actually knew how hard it was going to be.
Go again.
It was one of like the things that like the end definitely justified the means.
Yeah, it
but
did, for sure.
It was
for
rough.
sure. You know, well, it was rough because
I had 2 kids. Like Jaden was 6 months old. Zoe was almost 4. And I went back to like being in the hospital, 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
5 days a week. Didn't have to sleep there, which was great because on call we took from home, which was nice. But there was so much studying and there's so much to do.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
You loved it. You did. Because you're so good at it too. And it's funny because when people know you and, experience you as a dermatologist, it's so different and special the way you do talk to people. It just makes sense. But I remember when we started, together on the book that you wrote was probably ahead of its time.
I think it was too early.
Yeah, but we can go back at it. Like, I think we're not giving up on that book. That book needs what do they call it? The versions. What are they called? They're like, you write the
Not
next.
a rewrite, but
you add to it.
Yes.
It's called something.
I know.
I forget. It doesn't matter.
That's okay.
But so.
It's not a sequel because
it's an
updated version.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yes, because one of my professors, when I was studying the domestic violence stuff, had written a book on coercive control, and he was like the guy who wrote the book. I forget his name, and they did versions of it, and it was like you have to make sure you get version whatever. It doesn't matter. So what I wrote down here was something you said, which I love. You said most people haven't made the link between life and skin.
It's true.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
I don't think it's very American. I'm not quite sure why, but one of the reasons why Chanel was really interested in working with me was because of the psych and derm, because in France, they're very into mind body and have always understood that.
Yeah.
And Coco Chanel had a famous quote about that, your inner beauty showing on the outside and stuff. But Americans have been slower to accept it, adopt it, get that what goes on in our mind shows up in all of our organs. The thing about the skin is that it's on the outside.
Yeah.
So if you
skin doesn't lie.
No, and if someone has an ulcer, like it feels crummy to them, but the rest of the world doesn't necessarily know about it.
Right.
But if you're breaking out on your face with acne, or you have a rash that people can see, you have to deal with then how the world interacts with you, in addition to how it makes you feel.
And then that's a double whammy because that's a cycle, a vicious cycle, because it makes you feel worse.
Totally.
Makes you feel worse. So we're going to talk all about this stuff, which is really important. And let's sort of ground everyone in sort of dermatology basics, because you're here in New York and you treat a lot of people. I know you, men, women, families, right?
Yep, everyone.
Would you say across the board?
From birth to death.
Love it. I love it.
Or just my oldest patient's in his 90s, late 90s.
And I'm curious about what everybody's concerns are too. Is there like symmetry about what people are concerned about? What do people come in for?
All sorts of things. I would say like my 35 to 55-year-old women, just as a group, who have pimples and wrinkles feel too old for their pimples and too young for their wrinkles.
Yes.
And they're right about both of that and both totally treatable.
Yeah.
I see babies with birthmarks or rashes or food allergies. I'll see lots of kids with acne, one of my favorite things to treat. Growths that people are worried about.
Yeah.
Things people want lasered off.
Yeah.
When the world is anxious, people come in more for like growths that they might not have necessarily been worried about before. It's kind of interesting to see the effect of the world on what patients come in for.
That must be your own private little study.
It is.
That you sort of reflect on at the end of a day or a week and say, okay, this, these types of things are amping up right now, that things are going a little haywire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
So then the girls and guys actually, we think about the acne and we think about the wrinkles, and then, but I'm just going to like FYI you that when you get past 55, you don't give a shit anymore. I mean, you kind of do, but you're like, I think it'll go away. I don't care. I know it's going to pass. But again, that's another conversation. Talk about what are the things, topicals, hormone replacement, lasers, peels, like what are the things
like the cosmetic
people
stuff?
want, and what do they do? And it's all okay, right?
Yeah. So I would say, like, if there's something I can do in the office that is no risk other than maybe a bruise, something temporary, why not try to make yourself, so what it is someone will look in the mirror and feel completely different on the inside from how they look on the outside. So if we just talk about like age for a sec, someone might feel 35 or 40 on the inside, they happen to be 55 and they look in the mirror and they feel like they look 65. And there's this big disconnect and it's really bad for their self-esteem. So there are things I can do in the office to turn the clock back to try to undo some of the sun damage that we all got as kids because we did not have sunscreen. We had suntan lotion.
We did. I know.
That Bain de Gelée.
Remember?
Smelled really good.
I was just going to say the smell was the greatest thing ever.
It was a great smell, but the whole point was to get as tan as you possibly
could. We all have skin cancer. And if you're Irish or like whatever, you don't get tan.
No. You burn.
Yeah.
So I think our kids will do better than us. Not all of them, but we definitely have better sun protection now. But given that there is so much sun damage and also like premature aging is sometimes genetic. Like some families, you age kind of as your family, one side of the family usually does. And some of it is stress, right?
Yeah.
So we can see stress on our face kind of all the time.
Yeah.
And even like a quick little Botox injection can make all the difference.
Greatest thing ever.
And often someone will come in and be like, Dr. Amy, I need everything. I think I need a facelift, my eyes done, filler, Botoxes.
Are you repeating our last conversation?
No,
I think you might be.
Hey, you should dodge your confidentiality. Would never. Often, so I'll examine the patient and so many times they really just need some Botox.
Yeah.
So Botox and similar molecules are so good for muscles that are overused, especially in the upper face, can use it in the lower face. And right now, particularly when like everyone's really stressed out, they're furrowing more than usual.
Isn't that fascinating too? People are stressed and they're furrowing.
Yes.
So people look older or just pissed off.
Pissed off, irritable, angry, sad, upset. And they're kind of pushing through their Botox faster than usual. I've seen this during different times in the world.
I can relate to that.
And me too. And often it's like, no, actually your Botox wore off. Let me just do that. I don't think you need any of these other things, but you're not going to believe me until the Botox kicks in. Come back in a couple of weeks. We'll check on it. And 9 out of 10 times, they're happy.
They're fine. Okay, but that's reassuring, I think. And in general, if we weren't going through the world we're going through right now, how long is Botox supposed to last?
It's supposed to last at least 4 months.
Yeah.
But it can last way shorter.
Way shorter. Like the hair getting grayer faster, the Botox going away. It's costly to be a gal aging. All right, let's talk about then also, so it's the Botox. What about lasers?
So lasers can be great. There are so many lasers on the market right now, and a lot of them are not good. So when new lasers come out, I do a lot of research into them. I talk to the the laser gurus who are like doing the studies.
I remember you tested lasers on me back in the day. Do you remember that?
Yes. I always test everything on myself. If I'm going to buy something, I'll get the laser in the office and I'll test it on myself, my staff, my close friends first. Yeah. But there hasn't been a laser lately that I've really wanted that's new. I still stick with my gold standard Fraxel. Yeah. The updated version of Fraxel that's coming up, but it's still the same laser on the inside. It's just the coolant is better and it's smaller and it's a little more efficient. So I'll upgrade to that, but it's still like the gold standard. And that's great for anti-aging, for wrinkles, for fine lines, for scars like acne scarring, but also for sunspots and for precancers.
See, this is so good to know. And I think what we need to do as part of what we're sharing with our girls here is let's just like narrow it all down. Because, you hear about things like that micro needling and what is IPL?
IPL stands for intense pulse light.
Oh.
So it's not a true laser.
Okay.
Imagine like bright light narrowed down into a column, getting the microphone. So it's really strong, but it's still visible light. By definition, a laser is one wavelength of light. Okay. One color and has one target.
Got it.
So one laser could target hemoglobin, meaning what's in a red blood cell if someone has like extra blood vessels. Another can target melanin, which is the pigment in skin, which is what sunspots are made up of, for example.
Yes.
Another targets deeper into the dermis, the middle layer of skin, where the wrinkles are. So lasers are amazing because they have one target.
Got it.
Whereas intense pulse light does not have one target. I've never had one. I don't really like them because I don't think the results last very long.
Yeah.
There are some that are a little bit better now than they used to be.
Okay, so then we're going to put that one off to the side.
Yes.
We're going to put that off to the side. We're going to put microneedling off to the side.
Yes.
We're going to put in front and center a little Botox. We're going to put Fraxel.
Yes. Fraxel's amazing. It does make someone sun sensitive, so it's starting to become that time of year where I'm saying if it's your face or your hands, let's wait until the fall or winter. We have such a long fall and winter to take advantage of.
I know.
I also do laser hair removal is amazing.
That's great.
Great. But there's a laser for extra blood vessels.
I need that.
Things.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good one.
Okay, good.
Those are my favorites. Cool sculpting is still really good.
I tried it once, but I don't think it really worked.
You have to do it more than once usually for it to work. So you have to do it like twice usually on one area.
Okay. So that we keep, or is that like a...
No, that we keep.
We keep it.
So
okay.
It also tightens the skin. It's pretty awesome.
You do it on your body. You don't do it on your face.
You can do it under here, under your chin.
Oh, where you get
really
the waddle.
That little fat pad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it tightens the skin also.
Okay, so that's like if you don't want to get a facelift.
Exactly, or liposuction.
Or liposuction.
Liposuction,
yeah.
Which, has anesthesia associated with and potential risks there. Low.
With what? Lipo?
Anesthesia. Yeah.
Exactly. Lipo has anesthesia is what you're saying. Yeah. Well, Kanye West's mother died of that. Let's just remind ourselves.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And so did, I think she was getting lipo. And
did she go to Brazil or something and do her whole body?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. But so anyhow, yeah. Okay, so what about hormone replacement therapy? How do we feel about that?
I love it if a woman is a good candidate for it. So there are certain people who can't take hormone replacement therapy, like if they've had breast or ovarian cancer. Usually women can't if they're, and also if they're positive for one of the breast cancer genes.
You can't.
Then you can't for the most part. And then there's some disorders of clotting, like people know they have it where they either bleed a lot or don't make blood clots. Like these are things that you can check on a blood test, or like a family history of strokes very young. Like there's things to kind of like a checklist.
Yeah.
Or if someone's a smoker, to be really careful.
You don't want
to
make
blood clots with that stuff, but less so with hormone replacement therapy than oral birth control pill. But hormone replacement therapy, thankfully, like it's actually being studied now, because the old studies were so crummy.
Babe, don't even get me started on the studying on women. It's so upsetting.
It is.
It is really upsetting.
Right now what's happening is that they're removing women from studies. Like, so years ago.
But we were never in them.
Well, years ago, women were never in them, and they just extrapolated the men's data to women, which doesn't work.
No.
No shocker,
no.
Right?
Yeah.
But so the last decade or longer, women have been included in studies at the same level as, not that there's as much money for things that only affect women.
No.
Ovarian cancer, menopause, right?
Right.
There's a whole resurgence now, or maybe resurgence is the wrong word. It's the first time that menopause has been focused on. I don't think I had one lecture on menopause in medical school.
I'm sure you didn't.
No.
No.
But now this new administration has like removed the need to include women in studies.
It's just,
it makes no sense.
It's
more
insane.
Than half the population.
It's insanity.
Right.
But okay, so it was about hormones and how the hormones for women, because we're on basically a 28-day cycle, and we change literally halfway through the month.
Yeah.
And it was talking about chemo treatment. That's exactly what it was.
Okay.
Because chemo treatment can be effective or not as effective based on the progesterone that's in your body.
Well, that's interesting.
Fascinating. I'll send it to you. I know. And of course, now that I went down that rabbit hole, I'm interested.
Sorry you had to do that. So happy you're on the other side.
Thanks so much. Me too. Shit happens. What are you going to do? 1 in 4 of us. So whatever.
Right.
Anyhow, and I also am post-menopausal. So it wouldn't have mattered to me because I didn't, I don't have that same kind of cyclical fluctuation, but it was fascinating to me, the lack of study. That was the point of this, is that there was a total lack of study around cancer treatments for women because they said that women's bodies were too difficult and it would skew the study.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, is that the dumbest thing you've ever heard?
Terrible.
Horrible. Yeah, I'm going to send it to you. You're going to get mad.
Well, you know about endometriosis?
Yeah, what about
it? I won't get into it, but the length of time from symptom onset to diagnosis, I think the average is something like 20 years.
Why is that?
Because no doctors learn about it. So if you don't know a disease exists, you can't diagnose this. You can't think about it.
Right.
So it's mostly like doctors unaware what it is. Patients never heard of it because it's never talked about. It's never thought about.
Right.
And women get told they're hysterical or they're complaining too much. But like you think about those girls who had to stay home from school because their period cramps were so bad.
So bad.
A lot of those kids probably had endometriosis.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
And years later, it can affect fertility.
Totally.
And that's often when it's diagnosed.
Yep. Exactly. When you're trying and you've got a window this big.
Exactly.
No, it is actually quite maddening, isn't it? And that's why the purpose of exactly what we're doing here is to shed light on things that none of us thought about or knew about even.
No.
Literally, like, why didn't we know about this? And we got to know about these things. Okay. So the treatments that we're going to keep our Fraxel.
Yep.
We're going to keep our HRT if it's appropriate. We're going to keep our Botox. How do we feel about fillers?
I feel great about fillers when they're done right.
Yeah.
Fillers are getting such a bad name. And they
Bad rap.
The thing is, just take New York. There's some awesome injectors in New York, right? Yep. So people walk around looking good.
Yep.
They have filler, but it doesn't stand out. You're not supposed to know someone has filler. I have filler. I don't think you can tell.
No, you look great.
I don't mind saying it. No, thank you. I don't look good or bad, but I look natural.
You look
right?
natural.
I just look like
Yeah.
Bad filler stands out. Bad anything stands out.
I know.
Bad plastic surgery stands out. Bad makeup stands out, right?
It's the worst.
But it's the good stuff that you don't see.
Yeah.
That's the majority of filler. So
all right.
I think it's overstated that everyone's getting their filler dissolved. Like, no, not everyone's getting their filler dissolved. Filler, you have to go to an experienced injector. That's what it means.
That's what it means.
Like,
you got
everything.
You get what you pay for.
Don't get a Groupon for your face. Like, I just think it's a bad idea. People do it all the time.
Don't go to a Botox party and drink wine and have someone shoot you up.
Definitely not.
Don't do it.
So filler's great when done by a outstanding injector who knows anatomy and understands all this.
Yeah.
And then there's things to do at home, like prescription Retin-A.
Yep.
A generic name tretinoin. That's awesome. Anti-aging, growing collagen, anti-acne, anti-skin cancer.
That's topical?
Topical.
Okay.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We should talk about that
Retin-A,
on the side.
Yeah, of course.
On the side, pour moi. Because that's, okay, is that, what is topical estrogen? Is that a...
Topical estrogen is really interesting, I think, and can be great for the right person. Premenopausal, it's not needed because you're making enough estrogen to get into your skin. Post-menopausal, if a woman is not on hormone replacement, her skin often gets really dry and can get thin kind of fast because that drop in estrogen. Estrogen is really good for the skin. And so now, and then the only topical estrogen historically was vaginal estrogen, which is an ointment, which is like really not cosmetically elegant for your face.
Wait, it was like literally meant for your vajay, and then people would use it on their face?
Yes, and they still do. And it's safe. Okay. But it's just like a little bit yucky. So there's
someone's got to make that.
Yeah, some companies are already doing it.
Are they?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. That you should do. You could do that.
Well, no, but like more companies are making it.
All right.
And so there are some potential side effects. Not a big deal, but if someone's on HRT, probably don't need it, or maybe it won't do so much. But again, like the studies are just getting started.
Right.
So we're learning a lot about it.
Good Lord in heaven. Well, let's cross our fingers that they don't get canceled, right?
I think there's private money funding a bunch of this stuff, thankfully.
All right. I was just in a conversation earlier today talking about trying to, hopefully trying to do some research around medicinal massage. But then it became, because that's, so therapeutic and healing, but of course it's not covered by insurance. So anyhow, the conversation, of course, went into, well, I don't know that there's a lot of research going on around this, or it's going to be approved now. So might need to put it on hold. I'm not sure. Dr. Amy, what makes skin great? What makes your skin great?
So many things, right?
Yeah.
In my book, I wrote about how you really need to keep your stress level as low as possible. But that's easy to say, harder to do.
Yeah.
So there's a molecule called cortisol, right? That's the stress hormone.
Mm-hmm.
Think fight or flight, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just supposed to go up for that 2 minutes you're running away from the cheetah, for example. Yeah. Oh, fastest land animal. Maybe you're not winning that one. Okay, whatever. you run away from an animal that's chasing you.
Yeah.
Your cortisol level goes up so that you can put more blood into the muscles that make you run and your heart. And then when the danger is over, it goes back down.
Okay.
And so that's called the fight or flight response. Yep. The problem with modern life in this country, for example, is that cortisol level goes up in the morning when you wake up, and it stays up because of all the chronic stressors.
Totally agreed. Yeah.
And cortisol does so many bad things. Again, does nothing bad when it's pulsed out for a minute or two, but over hours, days, weeks, months, years, does so many bad things to the skin in particular. Yeah. It breaks down collagen. So someone will come in and be like, Dr. Amy, I swear to you, I did not have this wrinkle a month ago.
And that's real.
What's going on? Yes, of course it's real.
It's real.
People know themselves and their body, for sure.
Yeah.
And they'll say, all right, tell me what's going on in your life. Yeah. There's always something going on, and it almost always is affecting the person's sleep. It's the rare person who's got something stressful going on in their life who's like, oh, I'm sleeping 8 hours a night uninterrupted, because they go hand in hand. And cortisol's at its lowest while we're sleeping.
Oh.
So one of the beautiful things about sleep is that's when we heal. That's when we regenerate.
Right.
My grandma used to tell me to get my beauty sleep. And I think I probably rolled my eyes behind her back about that because it sounded silly. Right. But she was right.
It's real. That's a real thing.
It is. Think about newborns. They sleep so much, right?
Do.
And they triple their weight in a year.
Well, I wouldn't want to do that.
No, but They're growing in their sleep.
Yeah,
They're literally growing in their sleep.
Yeah.
And so in our sleep is when we heal our DNA and our cells, regenerate it.
Yep.
Because all day long we're like healing and repairing, healing, repair. We're damaging, repairing, damage, repair. And you want to repair as much as possible. So when do we do that? It also works to nap, by the way. Like it doesn't just have to be at night. Any sleep is good.
Yeah.
But then, okay, while you're awake, how do you break that cortisol cycle? How do you lower it? There's so many ways.
Like what?
Okay, today I had a new patient who canceled last minute. That's annoying.
That's annoying.
But it's a beautiful day out. So I was like, oh, I'm sneaking out the back of the office. I throw on my sunglasses and my hoodie and I ran into Central Park.
Yeah.
I was a little incognito.
Yeah.
And for 20 minutes, I went to see these specific cherry blossoms blooming behind the Met.
Aww.
And I kind of ran there. I didn't have that much time. And there have been a bunch of studies showing, like people call it vitamin G for green.
Yeah.
If you can see trees, doesn't matter. You're in an urban environment. There's still trees in every city. Yeah. It lowers your cortisol level. Absolutely does, which lowers your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure.
Right.
And breaks that cycle of breaking down your collagen. So bad things cortisol does to the skin, breaks down collagen, so wrinkles. Also increases inflammation. So cortisol is pro-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Almost every disease is a disease of inflammation. We know that now. Acne, eczema, psoriasis. It also makes the skin barrier kind of leaky. Ew. So you can't see it, but it's like your skin becomes more sensitive.
Like things get in?
Things get in, not like inside your body, but just inside the top of the epidermis. So you might use a product and like be totally fine. All of a sudden it's giving you a rash. Like why? What's going on? Yeah. So that's like, I call that being temporarily sensitive.
Okay. Like episodic depression.
Yeah.
It's situational.
Totally. So getting outside, exercise, stretching, seeing a friend in person. Yeah. Talking on the phone's good, way better than texting, but seeing someone in person for 10, 15 minutes.
Don't you love it?
It's so good.
I love seeing my people.
Me too.
Right?
I'm lucky because I'm obviously like so busy at work, but my friends come to see me for appointments
so
and then I get to see them.
You get little dopamine hits every day, I bet.
I do almost every day.
I love that.
It's pretty awesome.
It's equally bad as good if you're in a not good work situation that you have to go into every day. Totally. That's taxing and stressful.
Very.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Yeah, so you got to know. You've got to know what's going on inside of you.
Yes. Yeah. Being self-aware doesn't cost anything, but it's not necessarily easy.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of trigger to help you get there, I think. I was just listening to a book on narcissism.
Oh, gosh.
That's my fun, right? Like I listen to these books.
I would not listen to a book on narcissism.
Well,
for fun.
No, it's a doctor who's really interesting. And she was talking about something and she wrote a book. It's Not You. It's called It's Not You, the book.
I've heard of it. Actually,
yeah, it was cool. So I was driving back from Connecticut. I was listening to the book. Anyhow, so it was all about that and about, just reflecting on knowing yourself and what types of people are open to knowing themselves. Yeah. And that's really the first step of everything, isn't it? Is to understand what's going on with your body. What am I feeling? What are my thoughts doing?
Yes.
How does it feel? I
totally agree.
Yes.
And I always say, like, you should listen to your body. Mm-hmm. And often women in doctor's offices, I don't know if I should say often, I think it is often, will get blown off.
Yep.
And I always listen to my patients. Like people know themselves.
Yeah, they do.
And women are often told, oh, you're fine. Or, it's just all in your head. Meanwhile, they're having a heart attack, like literally.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's no good. There's a great book called All in Her Head by Elizabeth Coleman. Doctor.
Oh.
You should read it.
She's awesome.
That'll piss you right off because that's all about, studies on women and the history of healthcare for us, basically, and the lack of knowledge. Anyhow.
Well, a study came out last year saying that the pain of a heart attack, an MI, myocardial infarction, is similar to the pain of bad menstrual cramps.
Oh.
So that women, when they're having a heart attack, don't often think it's a big deal because they're like used to that level of pain.
Yeah. It's like, this is going to pass. I know it. Yeah. I'll bleed a little and, I'll be done.
Yeah.
It'll be over. It's so sad.
I know.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's see. You also said, you said exercise, diet.
Yes.
Sleep, of course, and sex.
Yes. Well, the thing about diet, so there's been no links. It's just kind of interesting to anything we eat to what's going on in the skin.
Thank you. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Sugar.
There's so many myths about it. And also, I hope it actually gets really studied. So what happens is, let's say there's a study on someone who has diabetes, right? So they're not metabolizing sugar properly, right? They're not making insulin or they're insulin resistant. And so they're not taking the sugar from the bloodstream and getting it into the cells properly. Then the sugar has breakdown products, which can end up in blood vessel walls. All sorts of bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
But you can't take that data from people who have diabetes and extrapolate it to people who don't, who metabolize sugar perfectly well, who have either make insulin or are not insulin resistant, which is most people. But that's what like the kind of sugar stuff on aging is. Oh, the sugar byproducts are breaking down your skin, your blood vessels. Like, really? Can you show me the data on someone who doesn't have diabetes? And it doesn't exist
Doesn't
yet.
exist.
No, maybe someday it'll be there. Maybe I'll stop eating candy one day if someone shows me that study, but I eat a little bit of candy. Sure, I do. I try to eat all sorts of things with antioxidants. I love fruits and vegetables, but I also love a Krispy Kreme donut. How often do I eat one? I don't know, once every couple of months, but like not so often.
But you can have it.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
But I think what happens is someone, like let's say someone's studying for exams and they're super stressed out. They're not sleeping that much. They're not really taking care of themselves. And then when we're stressed and doing that kind of stuff, we crave carbs.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. And so then we break out. And someone's like, oh, I'm breaking out because I ate all that fried food and chocolate. No, you're eating the fried food and chocolate and breaking out because of the stress.
The stress.
You can't see the stress, whereas the food is very concrete. And so that's just human nature.
It's blamed.
Blame the food.
Scapegoat.
Yes.
We're scapegoating food.
We are.
It's not nice. I don't like it. Yeah, there's no data, you said. There's no data.
No, chocolate does not cause acne.
Thank God.
Right?
Thank God.
I know.
No, we need to leave it alone. And then
but you said sex.
Sex.
Yeah, that's always fun to talk about. I always embarrass my kids. Like I'll go on a TV show and I'm like, and sex is great for your skin. They're like, oh, here she goes, not again.
Our horny mom.
Gosh, well, that's another story. No, just kidding. So anything we can do to lower cortisol, and there are other good molecules. So growth hormones, really good for us, anti-inflammatory. Endorphins, beta endorphins, which we make naturally, are great for us. When do we make them? We make them during exercise. We make them during sex.
Yeah.
And then there's oxytocin, which is like the love hormone. It's released after having sex or having an orgasm, which you can do by yourself, by the way. It does not have to, you don't have to have a partner. So I think that's good to like just remind people of.
It's like brushing your teeth. Once you do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do it because it's actually healthy.
It feels
and good for you.
Yeah.
And people sleep better.
Sleep better.
Right?
Yep.
Sleep better and their cortisol's lower and all the good molecules are higher. It's just good.
Don't meditate. Do that.
You can meditate too if you want, but have safe sex, of course. But it is one of the things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. No, it's really, really, really good because also what's important as we talk to people too is making sure that there are things that doesn't cost.
Exactly.
Doesn't cost money, you know? So I used to, when I was working on the domestic violence hotline, I used to say to people, when you were saying break the cycle, you got to break whatever cycle you're in. You're in this cortisol cycle and you're, I'd say, can you go outside right now? Can you like take the phone? Let's go outside. Can we go, get some fresh air? Yeah. Can you just get some fresh air and let's walk around?
Yes.
You know,
walk and listening to music.
Something. Yeah. Just to get outside, get the air, get the breeze. If you can't go outside, open a window and stick your head out, literally. Like just do that. Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Or bathing, take a bath, take a shower, water's good.
Whatever you like. Like,
yeah.
I never like to prescribe something specific because like exercise. Well, some people hate to exercise, but those people, some of them love to dance.
There you go.
Dance on your own to a song, take a dance class, whatever. Dance is exercise.
It most certainly is.
Exercise looks different for each person.
You know what? I love that you said that. That's actually really important to note. It is because you're right.
It's not just one prescription.
No.
Shoot, I can't get to that class or I can't go to the gym. I never go to the gym. I suck. No, you don't suck.
Yeah.
It's just obviously the gym's not for you. So let's figure out something else.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I love that. Okay. Toxins. We were talking about, this is another one. Touch on toxins through the skin. This was something that we talked about, which I really liked. You were saying that it's the skin's most important job is to be a barrier function.
Yes. So
it's like a guard.
Exactly. So the skin is a huge barrier, keeps the good things in and the bad things out.
Right.
If it didn't, we'd all be dead.
Right.
So
messy.
This whole thing, which is online and kind of everywhere, about molecules that are toxic in certain skincare products getting into the body is mostly BS.
Is that right? Yeah, because there's so much. That's the thing too, that for us, all of us gals too, it's like, what should we be doing here? You know, there's so much out there and what works and what doesn't work.
There's so much misinformation. And the problem with the internet, and of course, like I'm dating myself, but just it's like the dissemination of misinformation.
Yes.
And there used to be tons of misinformation before the internet, but it didn't spread like wildfire.
I know. And now people are just picking
myths that you heard and got it, but now it's just out of control. And
out of control.
there was a study a couple of summers ago of just like the information about Accutane on YouTube. Accutane is like the strongest acne medicine, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
55% of the info on Accutane that summer on YouTube was wrong.
Really?
So more than half of what people are reading, watching, being bombarded with is wrong, but they're thinking it's true because it's on the internet. So,
oh my gosh, wait, is there something else in life that's happening because of that right now? Oh no, we don't want to talk about politics. No. Sorry.
I can if you want to.
No.
So most things out there, listen, there are some things that you can put on your skin that you wouldn't necessarily want to eat or inhale, right? That some molecules in are not great, but it's not getting through your skin.
Okay.
And pharmaceutical companies have spent billions of dollars, for example, trying to turn vaccines into patches so that in the third world, they don't have to use needles, which then get shared and spread disease.
Yeah, that's smart.
They have not been able to because the molecules are too big. They can't get them through. There are very few medicines in patches. There's nicotine, there's estrogen. They're very, very small molecules.
How come? Why are they able to be small and the others aren't?
Oh, they just happen to be small molecules, and they spent lots of money, and they're expensive to make a patch.
Yeah.
But vaccines are too big, and most medicines are too big.
Yeah.
You know, they were trying to make a topical Botox for a while in a patch. Where is it, right? It doesn't exist.
It doesn't
exist. It's just probably too big of a molecule. You need a needle to get most things through the epidermis and dermis. So I would say for the most part, people shouldn't worry too much about what they're putting on their skin. I think everyone should wear sunscreen. I think that whole movement about sunscreen causes cancer. It does not cause cancer.
Well, you know, I wonder about that, having just been through the cancer.
Yeah.
You know, I, of course, panicked about like everything I put on and in my body. I'm not panicked anymore because that subsides. That's life. You know, things like they go off in the past. But I've always worried and wondered about body creams because I don't want to get cancer. So I avoided them. What about sunscreen? Because you know, people slather it.
As they should.
Yeah.
And if they're worried about their skin not making enough vitamin D, you really have to get a lot of unprotected sun to make enough vitamin D for the most part. But just take a supplement.
Yeah.
I take it every day.
Same.
Sometimes I take too much. I have to check my blood level.
You do.
I didn't get toxic, but almost. But very easy to supplement exactly the vitamin D3 that we need.
Yeah.
Comes in vegan gummies even. You know, any form you might want. I think it's an excuse for people who just want to get a tan.
I do get that, but I am wondering, are there some that are less, like what's the toxicity level?
Well, the thing about toxicity, like some sunscreen molecules are toxic to coral reefs, for example, marine life.
Yes.
So some states have banned them, like Hawaii, which is awesome because it really is bad. But then the question is like, those studies were probably kind of crummy. And how much sunscreen has to get into the ocean for it to, probably a lot to damage the coral reefs. The ocean's big.
And
but we're destroying the ocean with all the plastic anyway. But I love zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is a mineral sunscreen. There's mineral and chemical.
Yep.
Minerals don't get absorbed. They're just on the surface of a skin. They can't hurt anyone.
Okay.
So
then a mineral would probably be better if you're worried about
definitely.
Okay.
And then in Europe, they have more sunscreen molecules approved by their FDA than we do because they're just way more advanced than we are,
unfortunately. What was the one you used to like? I remember that.
I still love it, the La Roche-Posay and Cilios, but from Europe, from France.
Not the one, are they made, they're different ones?
They're different, yes.
Okay. So you have to go to France every now and then to pick up your La Roche.
It's such a shame. But you can get it in airports in certain countries. Like I went through Heathrow and they had it there, even though it's not made in England. Like you can get it. Some pharmacies in New York import it. I like to tease them illegally. I'm not allowed to sell it. You can find it around.
Okay, that's good. I remember that. I remember maybe even getting some for you in my travels at one point. Like you're like, oh, you're going to France. Pick me up some La Roche-Posay.
Exactly. But it's better to wear the sunscreen. It's better to moisturize and protect that skin barrier and not worry that stuff's getting through if you're an adult. Yes, a newborn infant who's like, you know, it's about surface area to body ratio. Like, yes, you can, a little baby can absorb stuff through their skin if it's going on their whole body, but not an adult.
Yeah.
So we really don't have to worry about most things. I mean, I think about the food that we ate as kids. So that had to be bad for us, a lot of the processed stuff, right?
I'm so sure.
All the Twinkies and the TV dinners and the Chef Boyardee. I mean, everything was out of a can or a box. I'm sure a lot of that stuff was bad for us. And I'm sure it's much better to eat fresh food if we can afford it and have access to it.
Yep.
But that we're ingesting and it's going to our whole body. But on the outside of the skin, it's staying on the outside of the skin for the most part.
For the most part. So we're saying though.
Yes.
I'm just putting it into our keep bucket.
Okay.
You know, because we're like synthesizing what are the things that we should be thinking about.
Yes.
I'm just going to say mineral sunscreen. I'm going to say that because it sits on the top.
Sometimes mineral sunscreen, though, can look white or ashy.
Oh, okay.
Because think about Zinca, like that people used to wear on the beach, or that
zinc oxide.
Like lifeguards used to wear.
Yeah.
Yes.
My mother used to make us wear that. It was really upsetting.
Yeah. Well, it's also like in Balmex and diaper rash cream, that thick white stuff. It's zinc oxide. No, but that's zinc. But you can micronize zinc oxide so it rubs in. So there are some cosmetically elegant zinc oxide sunscreens. I definitely use them. But the chemical sunscreens are easier to rub in.
Yeah.
But they are safe. It's just that they don't last as long. They get broken down by the sun.
Yeah.
The European versions and some of the South Korean versions are just better than ours. So,
man, we got work to do here.
We do.
We've got so much work to do. Okay, there are a couple of other things that I wanted to ask you too. Like when you get a skin flare up, if it's eczema, if it's psoriasis or acne or whatever, what are some of is it literally just stress, or is it some other things that could cause that?
Lots of things can cause it. So if we talk about acne for a sec.
Yeah.
Main causes of acne, genetics. So
is that right?
Did your parents have acne?
Yeah.
Your siblings. Genetics, hormones, and stress. So it's a combo of all three, and it often is. So we're usually born with the predisposition to certain conditions or diseases, and then our environment acts on us to either protect us or make us more vulnerable. So if someone had really bad acne and then it's gone, it's either treated or they outgrow it, and they're in a very stressful situation, they might break out because that's what if they never had psoriasis in their life and it doesn't run in their family, it's unlikely that a 40-year-old is going to get new psoriasis during a stressful time. So it is a combo of like genes, hormones with respect to acne, and some other things, and stress.
Yeah. And then what can we do about it? As a, you want to take control of yourself, you want to be in charge of your health and what does one do aside from like being prescribed a steroid cream, which would bum me out?
Well, used in the right way, those are good.
Okay.
Those can be very good. When you were talking before about self-awareness, I think really listening to your body. So if something's going on and it's new or you don't like it or it doesn't feel good, you don't have to accept it. But I think pausing and thinking, what is going on in my life right now? Have I used any new products? Has anything changed with my period? Am I on any new medications? How stressed am I? How am I sleeping? Right? Just like going through sort of an inventory, check in with yourself. Sometimes you figure it out. Oh, I've got this rash. Oh, I tried this new product last week, or so-and-so gave me this new perfume, or I'm dating someone who's wearing an aftershave that's giving me a rash. Like, or sometimes it's like, oh, my mom is in hospice and dying. Like, okay, like
that'll
going through something. Right. And when we're stressed out, we often just throw our routines out the window. Humans just do that. And routine is so important.
You mentioned that. That's really important, right?
Yeah. And like a skincare routine really only has to take 3 minutes twice a day. But still, if you're going to visit someone in the hospital every day, you're probably rolling out the door without washing your face or putting on moisturizer, or like going to bed with your makeup on, whatever it is. You're just doing the stuff that you don't usually do. And if you can take a few minutes, and it feels like I don't even have 3 minutes for myself. Yeah. But you do.
Or you just let it go.
You let it go.
You let
because you think it's less important or it's not important. It might be less important in the moment, but it is important.
Well, going back to the whole know yourself and take care of yourself idea, which is what we're trying to remind the girls to do.
Yes.
We have to think about ourselves, and you got to do it.
Do you know when that announcement on airplanes when they say, like, if you're traveling with a small infant or a small child or infant, put your mask on before theirs, like if the oxygen masks come down? You always make fun of that announcement. But what does that mean? It's like, take care of yourself so you can take care of someone else better.
That's right.
Right? So
that's right.
I try to do that for myself because my job is to take care of people for a living.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not doing well, I can't be a good doctor.
No.
And I care so much about being a good doctor. So I have to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Not that I always succeed, but I'm thinking about it.
It's conscious for you.
Conscious.
It's not an afterthought, or it's not something you have to learn.
Right.
There are a lot of us are kind of learning things now and awakening to, oh wow, I'm really I could use some help here.
And I'm still learning too, which is awesome. I think that's one of the joys of life, right?
Yeah.
Living well is to keep learning and changing and evolving. But
you mean the fact that you just went to business school again, like out of no?
Well, that was fun. I'm just a big nerd and I love school.
I know
I do. It was so fun, and it made me feel young.
Yeah,
and that felt great.
It's really cool
being back in the classroom.
Yeah,
and I think it was good for my brain too.
Totally. Yeah. And then
you went back to school.
I did, and I loved it, and I'm studying right now to get my license. So, which I'm excited about, and it makes me want to like go back to school again.
Me too.
Do you? What would you do next?
Okay, either a PhD in primatology.
Okay.
Because I love great apes.
I know
and
you do. That's the
gorillas.
cutest thing ever.
Or I would teach, which I think is more realistic than getting my PhD and going to live in Tanzania for 6 months of the year, which I'm not going to do.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't put anything past you. Although I'm thinking about getting a PhD too.
You are?
Yeah, I think about it. I've thought about it for years.
Social worker?
Yeah. Furthering, like going more specific.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think about it. We have a whole next we got a chapter going on here. It's the best one. Your work with patients, because what to you is the most important part of working with your patients?
I think it's listening to them. All these studies have been done on someone goes to the doctor, what are they looking for? And I guess I used to think a diagnosis and a cure, right, would be like number 1 and 2.
Right.
Number 1 is always to be heard.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And all these also great studies showing that women doctors spend more time with patients, sit more often with them, listen better.
Yep.
Okay, that's been proven.
Yep. Not a surprise.
No, we're better listeners. There's some awesome guy doctors, obviously, that I love.
Yeah.
And ones I don't know that are amazing, of course. But giving people permission to talk about anything. Like, it's a real privilege to take care of people for a living. I know that sounds cheesy, but
it doesn't.
It's totally true.
That's actually, thank you. And that's a beautiful thing that you as a doctor approach it that way. Because what if you didn't? I mean, it's,
I can't imagine. I mean, it's, and being a doctor is like not a job, right? It's just who I am.
Yeah.
It's 24/7, right? But how amazing. And people share with me like their most intimate things about their body and their mind and their family and their life. And because there's a trust there.
Yeah.
And that's serious and real. And sometimes they just need to be heard or listened to. And that's healing enough.
It is.
And just that and a hug, right? And like the laying on of hands. It's a real thing. Like, that's why I'm not that worried about like AI taking over medicine, because people need human interactions.
Very much so.
And we can do some telemedicine follow-ups and stuff, but really need to meet someone.
Totally.
To feel heard. So I think that's really a lot of what I do. No, I know that that's a lot of what I do.
I think that's really why, I mean, aside the credentials aside, I think that's why you are so successful and why people say such great things about you. I really do.
Thanks, Kath.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I joke around and say I practice old-fashioned medicine, which is kind of sad that it's old-fashioned. It really just means I spend a lot of time with my patients.
I know, right?
I ask open-ended questions. I treat them. I treat their parents. I treat their kids. So it's like 3 generations.
Yeah.
That's how you really get to know someone.
It is.
And then if they need a medicine, they need a treatment, they'll accept it more from me.
Yeah.
Or like I understand the meaning of it to them.
Yeah.
Because I could write like the best prescription in the world, but if someone doesn't fill it or use it, then it's actually a really crummy prescription. I'm not doing a good job. So
Right.
Yeah.
That amazes me too. I had a doctor when I was going through my cancer stuff when I got right on everything they said to do. I was like, done, booked it, got it, done. And when I went back to check in with my surgeon, she said, and I was like either halfway through chemo or, I think I was halfway through it, and I had already met with my radiologist and it was booked already. And she was like, yeah, no, I just wanted to check in. And have you met with your doctor this one yet? Or I was like, babe, I'm like in it already. What are you talking about? And she said, no, you'd be surprised. Some people just don't follow up.
I know.
Which is mind-boggling to me.
It is.
Yeah.
You would think that when something's so serious, like everyone would do it. When I worked in the emergency department, they were doing studies on like, who are the people who leave because the wait is too long?
Yeah.
And you would think, make the wait time long and the people don't need to be there, who just have a cold or sprain their ankle, but it's not that bad, would leave. No, people having like life-threatening heart attacks and strokes leave. It's not a good way to weed out patients who don't need to be there because people die if the wait time is too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's really sad. But again, empowerment. We're empowering people and helping people identify things sooner, I think, is sort of a proactive way to
preventative medicine.
Preventative medicine, and the importance of taking those 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is that we have to do for ourselves in everything, and just making sure we're okay. Okay, so as we wind ourselves down, which I don't want to do because I could sit here and talk to you all day long.
Same.
Could you share with us the 3 things /4 in your case that we would like everybody to take away from this?
I think sleep is so underrated and so important. So adults need 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
Whenever I say that in a group, people groan.
Really?
Because they're not getting it.
Yeah.
And Americans think that sleep is like extra.
Yeah.
and not
I know.
necessary.
We're so stupid like that.
We just don't know. That's how we were brought up. We didn't know.
We didn't know. Do you know what I've started doing?
What?
I've started napping.
That is awesome.
And I'll tell you why. So I made after I had my cancer year, and I had to change my work situation because it was just crushing me. And so I made a change. I now am like, and I said, when I was making that change, I said, I really just need to go sleep for like 3 months. I really need sleep because I was so exhausted from the whole everything. Anyhow, I'm doing it. And I feel so good.
That's awesome.
Like I feel like a different person.
How long is your nap?
I'll nap easily like three on the weekends every day. Each day I'll nap. I slept a half an hour before I came here.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Is it easy for you to fall asleep?
Like that. Because I'm so stinking tired all the time.
Great.
I know. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
But it works. You know, I wake up and I feel better. But I think it's the allowing yourself to do it.
Yes.
I would have never in a million years allowed myself to sleep for half an hour.
Because for some reason it's equated with weakness.
Which
makes
or
no
sloth
sense.
right? Like laziness, right?
Yes.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, we're learning.
Okay. Sleep is really important.
Yep.
Sun protection.
Yep.
So it's not just sunscreen. It's really like embracing sun protection. It's like crossing over to the shady side of the street. I do that.
I know you do. I put an exclamation point after that on the card. Sun protection, Amy.
No,
yes.
I know. And I mean, look how fair I am, right?
I
But
know.
the sun can cause so much damage. And people don't think of being in New York City or any city as a place you could get sun. Like, oh, when I go on vacation, I wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
Like the amount of inadvertent sun and sun damage that happens in the city, you're in the park.
Yeah.
You go out to get lunch. You have no sunscreen on. You sit outside on the steps.
Yep.
You're a kid and you're outside at recess. Like whatever it is.
You need to put it on every morning after you. Do you put it on after you do your face cream?
It depends on the kind of sunscreen. So chemical sunscreens, which are anything that's not zinc or titanium, have to go on first. Because they incorporate into the dead cells on the surface of the epidermis.
Okay.
And then everything else goes on top of it.
Okay.
You can reapply during the day, just with, you don't have to wash your face to reapply.
Yeah.
A zinc or titanium mineral sunscreen could go on any layer.
Okay.
So that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little tidbit there. But
it's good to know.
It's not just sunscreen. It's sunglasses. Sunglasses are cool.
Yeah, I know.
Hats.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Sun protective clothing. You know, you're going to your kid's baseball game and there's no shade at kids' sporting events, right? Just think about watching tennis, right?
No, I got mauled recently at a tennis match. I was like, damn it.
Right. So hopefully there's a shady side of the court, or you can bring an umbrella, or you get one of those chairs that has like a little, I used to get made fun of at baseball games. They're double headers. Oh, there's Dr. Amy with her sun protective chair. Yeah. By the second game, everyone's sticking their head under the chair to try to like get away from the sun.
That's so
because
good. It's just what to do.
It is just unforgiving.
Yeah, it is.
The sun, it's getting stronger and stronger, right?
Yeah.
So sun protection, sleep. I know I'm probably going to talk about sex.
You are. That was on the list.
What was my fourth one?
And you said alone or with.
Yeah, alone or with a partner.
Yep, which is great.
Yeah.
Your fourth one was daily short breaks.
Yes.
To lower your stress molecules.
Yeah. So listen, tomorrow I'm not going to have 20 minutes to leave the office, but I try to walk to and from work every day.
Love that.
That's helpful.
That's your exercise.
It is. And it clears my head.
Yep.
And in the winter, the sun is not even out often when I'm walking. It doesn't matter. You just need the fresh air.
Yeah.
Or I'll connect with a friend, or I'll just like do some deep breathing exercises for 10 seconds, like those abdominal breaths.
Yeah.
10 of those.
That's so great.
It takes like 20 seconds.
And that's been equated to meditating, actually.
Oh, that's good.
It sure has. That you can sort of grab a snippet of like pseudo meditation just by doing like 10 deep breaths. Yeah.
You have to puff your tummy out when you do it. It's like the opposite of how we usually breathe. It's really good.
Oh, it feels good already.
I love those.
This has been so fun.
So fun.
Thank you so much for coming.
Was that an hour already?
This was an hour.
Oh my gosh.
This was an hour.
That was awesome.
My phone. Yeah, an hour. We're
Thanks,
good.
Kath. I'm so impressed that you're doing this. I'm so impressed with everything you're doing.
Thank you.
And I love that we're still friends after all these years.
I do too. More and more to come.
Totally.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
Okay. Ciao. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Inside the Wellspace. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.